Dzień dobry, Krakow. Just learn it. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here. This is my first time in Poland, and I am thrilled to talk about my journey in such a beautiful and historic city. They say Krakow is where tradition meets innovation. And that couldn't be more fitting for what we are going to explore today. What if I told you that in just 68.9 hours, about 86 working days, you could publish not one, but 21 apps, fully functional mobile apps for both Android and iOS. As a UX, UI, and digital product designer, that's exactly what I did. Now, I will share my journey with you so you can all do that too. We will explore the designer's dilemma, oh my God, let's go back. We will explore the dilemma designers face, the revolution NoCode is bringing to the field, and how we can bridge the gap forward. Hands up if you are ready. Okay, love to see that. Okay, coming back. Okay. Have you ever had an idea for a product but felt helpless to make it real? You are not alone. This is what I call the idea to product gap. Imagine having a library of unwritten books in your head. If you don't know how to write, even if they are clear and exciting, they are just trapped in your head. The same happens with product. Whether you are making a web or an app, native app, you won't go too far without having the right skills. As a designers, we often create hi-fi, we deliver them to developers to build, and sometimes this matches our design, sometimes it doesn't. I have been seeing big companies don't have designers build something that development you make in perfection. Or also designers building things that could not be built by development. This old way to build products is slow and costs a lot. The final version, most of the time, don't match the reality, what was first imagined. I am Karla Fernandes, and my career began in 1997, 10 years before the first iPhone was released. Who here was born after 1997? Is there someone younger here? Okay, I see some people. Back then, my canvas was print. So I dealt with CorelDRAW, with Photoshop, also with Adobe PageMaker. I have been working in design for over 25 years. And I learned as many skills as I could. I became a generalist. Even as an employee, I saw that for me as a designer to grow, I could really not just do design. So I learned how to code during my career to help companies and also to build the final product. Over time, I naturally guided to UX UI. So I stopped just making things beautiful, and I also turned them into make to use. Today, I use all these skills to create digital products. Fully functional. Throughout my career, one big problem stayed the same. There is a gap between creating the design and deliver it. There is a gap between it to make it real. But if you could turn your ideas into real products without coding. That's what I discovered in 2020. Let me tell you about Scarf app. I had a very simple idea. I wanted to teach people how to knot scarves. You know, cold season, you are there at home, and sometimes you go out with the same scarf, you do the same thing. Like, this is a very common thing for women from October on, I would say. And I didn't have the skills. I could not code. I tried. I tried to learn Objective-C, and I wasn't able to learn as fast as Apple just released the iOS 6 with new guidelines. It was totally throw-off. So I kept that project for 10 years on my desktop. In 2020, I discovered that I could publish an app using no code. And that for me was transformational, really. Like, I was excited about it. I thought, wow, this is so amazing. So I will get this project that has been on my desk forever, and I will make it real. So I took a month of December in 2020 to learn how to build that app. It took me 77 hours to design, to build, to test, and to publish. Not just one, but two apps. One that is paid and one light version that is free for people to try it out and see if they like. I was really excited when the app was published to the stores, and more excited when I saw people using it. It was a product I built myself, so how couldn't it be, right? It showed me how powerful no codes can be. And a lot of people have not done apps so far because they couldn't code. This shows also that everyone now can build. Since then, I have built 21 apps. They were downloaded more than 10,000 times. And each of those downloads represent a person that have been using one of my products. You may ask, how is technology changing for designers? Think of being a surfer. The waves of technology are changing direction all the time. In just 10 years, we have gone from simple drawings to building complete cities using generative AI. Today, designers have to be a little bit artists, a little bit researchers, part-time developers. It's like having a finish line that the industry keeps putting a bit further from you, and you are running towards all the time. Learning these new skills can be really, really exciting, but also exhausting. How many of you have learned something new in the last month? Anyone? Okay, 5, 6 people, which is already great. I'm glad that you all are learning. So if you think about this process, no code, the industry means yes. So no code isn't replacing traditional code if you are asking yourself. This is really for you to have a bridge. It will help us test faster, create ideas and publish them. It will also, for very complex projects, you need code. But the idea here, or the key here, is for you to know when to use each of them. Are you using code for this project or no code? Or are you starting with no code and migrating to code later? In 609 hours, I published version 1 of 21 apps. That's less than a lot of companies spend just on planning alone. But this isn't just about speed, it's about empowerment. Remember, you don't need to be a coder. That's why I started to help business to quickly turn their ideas into fully functional products. I started to mentor founders to bring their vision to life and also guide the next generation designers that are eager to be part of this revolution. I am a team of one. Imagine if you aren't work alone. Now that you have seen what no-code is possible, I will show you some no-code basics. There is a huge spectrum of no-code, and you have seen already a lot of tools. Andreas was in the stage before talking about Todo, one of the tools that I am still learning, but I already built a project with. No-code is like a Lego. You have all these, like Lego is like a plastic brick, but in no-code, you think of that like a tool. So you have different tools, you kind of have to connect them. And when you connect them, you can build something powerful. Most of them, you need that integration. Some tools you kind of know. For web, for example, Wix, Framer, Webflow. For web apps, Todo, Bubble. For native apps, Browser Studio, Good Barber, also Funkable. You have so many, right? For data, we have Airtable, Sano. Even Google Spreadsheet can be something. You have also for connecting things or optimizing your journey, automate things. You have Make, you have Zapier, and for forms, you have Taliforms, Fillout. All these tools help designers or put designers in a great position to lead. You become master builders of the digital products. Who here is a designer? So you see, you have 70% of the project already done. The tool I have used so far is Figma. Right? Everyone, like if you are a designer, you don't use Figma, might be a different deal. But if you do, you have already 70% of the product built in Figma. Anyways, if it will be coded or no coded, you can use the same process. Bravo is where you import your Figma file, and then it reads, turn your app into something that can click, swipe, do a search. Then you add real data through Airtable, or you can use also others, like I just mentioned, like a Sano or a Google Spreadsheet. You just need access to an API. And Tally. I use Tally in my apps for forms. I don't know how many times you have seen a form, but every time that a user tries to use it and something goes wrong, right? The validation process goes wrong. So Tally solved that for no code because they already built a solution exactly for that. And there are others too. This is how I create apps in 5 steps. So first, you find an idea and a problem to solve. Second, you create a prototype in Figma. Also name your layers, like who is the designer here that already like to name their layers? I'm glad you see that there are some. So you just name your layers, then you start with testing. You start testing in your phone, you see if it works the way you preview, and go to the next. You add the data, real data from Airtable, connect things, and then you publish. And go to the market. You have to tell about it to everyone. That is from idea to publish app in 5 steps. This is how I made 21 apps. And that's how you can do it too. Now let me show you a little bit how I went, right, from making one to creating 17 apps for myself. The first app I told you about was Scarf app. I built the app in 77 hours. I learned there the foundation, the basics of no-code. Then I built UX events, which later on was renamed to UXY Hub. It took me just 22 hours, but this project showed me that it's great to start very, very small and then grow to something bigger with the time and keep iterating. This 100 Animals app taught me the power of templating. I started with one app that would be redone over and over again with different languages. And No-Code Class is a course I built about teaching how to create a course app. It's kind of redundant there. With this, I learned that creating a course is actually easy. The difficult of it is to keep it updated. Figma has a UI 3. Bravo also launched the version 3 of their own product. So things look different. And for a course, that's not so great. So the new version, it will come next quarter in 2025, first quarter. So moment méchant for you. From 100 Animals, it came other 3 apps about iterations. One of them is my 150 words that doesn't focus only on animals, also focus on 6 categories of words. Then you have Swiss Lingo, that is an app with the same kind of basics, but that focus on the 4 master languages of Switzerland, right? Like you have there German, French, Italian, and Romansh, which just 0.5% of people speak. So this is a way for other Swiss people kind of grow their own culture. And Bilingual Kids was the latest project I launched. This one, I took 21 hours, and like the name says, is to help bilingual parents to keep their kids learning the second language even when one parent is away. So you can see here, No-Code Craft took a long time, 154 hours. I built that in public. I took 21 days to build the whole design process, step by step with guidance to show how a product like this should go. Because here, 154 hours also includes all the steps we do in the design thinking process. But as you know, not everything that shines gold. We also have some challenges, and we must also search for solutions. At first, it's not easy. Like you saw, my first app took me 77 hours to build. But now I could build an app in 8 hours. So how do you improve? You start learning, you go join communities, you get tutorials, you get templates, and you keep doing it, right? Sometimes they can do everything. The NoCode tools have limitations, and you have to get creative, either with a different solution, a different way to do the same thing, or choosing other tools, or doing integrations. Some platforms have pre-made blocks. Many don't have any. But these pre-made blocks can also help you accelerate your process, but also not help you design the perfect app the way you want. So you have to get creative there too. Use your design skills the best you can to make them real. With or without code, you still need to test, right? This is super crucial, and all parts of your app should be tested. Remember, the challenges are chances for you to grow, and solving them, you do amazing things. My apps were downloaded more than 4,363 times. They took me 565 hours to publish the first version of these 17 apps. That is 4,363 people using my products. 82.5% were downloaded at the App Store. All the apps are available in both. I still don't understand why this is, but you have to see where your market is as well. These numbers really show something important. With no code, one person can create many products in a short time and have real people using it and enjoying them. Now, for the most exciting part. How we, as designers, can bridge the gap between design and development without becoming programmers. As we bridge this gap, it's important to understand the phases of the product development. First, did you know that Gartner says that in 2025, by 2025, 70% of a business apps you'll be using low and no code. So if you are here and in this talk, it means you are in the right path. And you can see these phases remain consistent. The only biggest difference is that if you have a very simple app to build, if you are using traditional code, it will take from 7 to 12 months to build. And if you use no code, you can do that from 4 to 8 weeks. The best part, you no longer need a full development team either to bring your ideas to life. It all starts with an idea. Just get inspired, brainstorming, solving a problem, a personal problem you have, collaborate with others. UX UI Hub was called first UX Events, and it came from a networking collaboration. So I met Alex, and he was building these UX event newsletters every week. And this was great. Everyone was rooting for it. They were enjoying the product. So after a 30-minute call with him, he just gave me a green light to go do the product. I quickly did a simple prototype using Figma, and in this dash zone, you can see how the product started. It was really small, but I kept iterating and add new features. Then it became UX UI Hub. I did do those layers I just told you, named them the right way, so using the right requirements that Bravo does. Like you can see here on the screen, it's a bit quite impossible to read, to be honest. So you can see those yellow are parts that make something work. So for example, in a menu, you have a menu tab. So you have bracket and right, menu, 2 points dash. You test and iterate. And then it's time to make your idea real. You go to that integration, you add Airtable data. I did since the version 1, and the good thing about that is that Alex was already using Airtable for his events, so it makes it much quicker too. Then, are you ready to launch? This app actually grew from 0 to 1K in 32 months without zero addition. It was just the same way it started as UX events. Then I took ownership of it and kept it for a while. Afterwards, I realized, okay, I should invest more time because events is not enough. I did partner with some designers to do research for me. And those were mainly my past mentees. They were interested in ramp up their portfolio, and they wanted a project to work on. So when I did this app and invested 67 hours more, I had launched a 50 version that had job boards, 400 resources, also events, and an area for experts and connect. So in the last 7 months, this app downloads increased for almost 300%. I continue to iterate. There are new features that I added, like banners. I also added this expert area, and I also add discounts for people that are a part of the hub. Using a simple analytics, I really discovered what people were clicking on and most interested in. So I see that by those popular sessions, I can invest more time on the product and also make it more likely that people actually enjoy using it. The user growth increased by 5.7% just in the last month. Summing up, nearly 2.k users, or downloads if you want to say. The iOS also leads the app here. As we are designers and we stand in this between this no code, we are really witnesses at dawn of a new area. No code is already revolutionizing app development, but this is really just the beginning. We will see more AI integration, automation of complex process, and also suggestion for improvements. I saw one of these days a guy doing a plugin that you'll be able to give you feedback on your design. I think that's so incredible. Imagine how powerful that will be for us. No code, you expand, you get more specialized fields like AR, VR, Internet of Things. As no code evolves, the role of a designer will also evolve. I am really a big believer. We designers won't just be doing high fidelity anymore. We will be the ones who will build the first version of products. I think we will also dominate systems and structures and understand how the product works as a whole. We will start gapping the business strategies and the implementation. And new opportunities will rise for those that are interested in it. We are uniquely positioned in between to lead this revolution. And I am here to invite you to embrace it. What's next for me? I am building 3 other personal products. Like I told you, Team of One is one of them. It's a portfolio showcasing for solo product builders. Something that you make a solo product builder portfolio easy to make and also decent looking. Local Pass will be designed to you to save cash on your travels. So it will become a discount app for traveling parts. So Fit Easy, it's a very interesting case. And remember, I told you about reaching barriers or not being able to build something. This project actually started in 2021, and I wasn't able to finish it. So I keep trying, like every 6 months, to see if I find a different solution that works. So it's still on the works. You may ask, am I the only one? The simple answer is no. Nathan is not a designer. He's a CMA coach. He has created a course to help accountants to get a management certification. Since he lacks design skills and also development skills or implementation skills, he hired me to build the app for him. Today, this app has 5.4K users, with 55% of them using iOS. The app was originally designed to help the students to master the questions of this course. But in the end, since the app is free, what happened was that people got to know about him by downloading his app. And then going to his course and buying it. So it started to be a marketing tool for discovery. He has been really pleased with the results, and now we are collaborating on a second project that is totally different. Fabia is a designer who began alone with Bravo. She was building tips. This is an app for discovering, saving, and sharing her your favorite spots and experiences. Unlike Nathan, she is a designer, but she chose to not build things alone. After 6 mentorship sessions, she really realized that if you would have started with my guidance early, that she would go faster, that she would not break or she would not get to those very simple things that could be built fast. She was trying to debug it by herself. So our sessions were really focused on having her focus on the problems and trying to find creative solutions and ways to build it differently. Even though she had a lot of trouble with testing and adding new features, it was totally worth. Her app integrates several tools. She uses Google Maps, she uses Sano, she uses OneSignal for notifications, she also uses Firebase for authentication, which I also use in some of the apps. And she built this in 10 months. Now she is working full-time on the project on a business app for the same product that she is going to monetize. Florian is a designer, and he created Open Doors, a platform that helps junior designers to get their first role in the industry. He taught himself Webflow. Have any of you have used Webflow so far? Okay, a few people. He taught himself, and he built the initial idea in 7 days. 2 days for Figma, and 3 to 4 days on implementing. His initial investment was only the Webflow year subscription. This product of his took 6 months to be, a bit, okay. So I totally lost the word. I have no idea what it is. So this project of his took 6 months to be totally, he got the money back. He got the money back, so he did invest on it, and he got the money back in 6 months. He also runs a newsletter, and he promotes everything on LinkedIn. Stefan and Vimalan are in a stage called Panton right now, and I learned that Stefan is really focusing on building his own products, like templates, and also helping his business grow creating premium websites in Webflow. Villaman is designing products for builders, and he is also achieving a lot of it. So both are running a Webflow agency, and they both started alone. How can I contribute to your journey? One-on-one mentorship, also Bravo expert on-demand calls, a no-code sprint where you learn each of these steps one by one during 21 days. You also can get Bravo Studio courses or join an acceleration program if you have an idea and you just want guidance every step on the way. Have you ever have an idea or for an app or a product, but felt helpless to build it, to bring it to life, to make it real? Have anyone? As designers, you can now bridge the gap. Join the no-code revolution. One last question for you. What are you going to build now? Let's connect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we'll have some time for a Q&A session. I guess we'll manage to do a 3 or 4 questions. So, do we have anyone wanting to start with questions to Karla? I don't see yet, but I've got one. I wonder, how do you manage to work on so many projects just by yourself?
I think working on different projects all the time, it's kind of very good thing for your brain because you get bored at working on, at least I do, get bored to work on single product. You are all the time seeing it, you don't know how to evolve, so it's better to work in several projects. And these, like you saw, it is like if you would put all of them together, less than 1 quarter, less than 90 days. So it's not a lot of effort that you need to make them real. And you have to think of really this small solution that you want to build and put it forward. And then afterwards, you can always improve.
Okay, so you basically start from something small.
Yes, and iterate your way up.
Okay, thank you. So, do we have any? Yeah, we got one. Yeah, sure.
Okay, hi. Thank you for the presentation. One question. Any tips how to came up with an idea for the application? How you came up with so many different ideas for your apps? Thank you.
So you can see in your network if there is something that someone is doing that you could use, like I did with UX events. Or you can just try to think of problems that you are facing yourself. Like maybe it's something at your job that is not quite working and that you see that you could create a solution that is better. Or maybe it's something or an app that you already use that you think, oh, you know, this app, I could do it much better, or they are doing a really bad job. I see that happening a lot to different industries. Like I have a mom that came to me and told me like, oh, you know, I want to tell people how to breastfeed. And this is something I didn't experience. I'm not a mother, so I have no idea it's a problem, but she did. So maybe you have already things in front of you that you don't see. You just need to start checking, do some journaling, put all the ideas outside, like, oh, what's not working in your life, and try them out.
Thank you. Now we got time for another question. One minute. It's
okay.
Okay, now we have the mic going.
Hi. My question is, how big was this first application? So how many screens were in the first, this 77 hours application? Because it's pretty amazing that you're starting application in 2-week period, I think. In the fact that it's usually you have so you have the time for the research, for the ideation, then you have to make some kind of mockups, and after all, you just need to have this, you know, time for bug fixing. And 77 hours, it's like, it's really, really small. So how much of them was at the beginning?
That's a great question. So all the research, all the prototype or idea I had for these ideas was already done for 10 years. It was there in my desktop and just, you know, I could not build it. I could not learn iOS fast enough. And when I built it, it is really a simple app. It's like just a few slides. Let's say you have a list of elements. I am filtering them in each of the buttons that you have down on the app, on the menu bar. And when you do that, you have the list of scarves. When you click, you have the step-by-step on how to knot that. It's like an image. So you have just a slide. So it's very simple app, and it still took me 77 hours. It was really a learning curve to understand, oh, how it can be built. Should I put a menu here? Should I not? And try it out with users too. So that's why it took too long. Today, if I would build that app, I probably would take half day.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anyone else wanting to ask a question? Yeah, we got one. Give us a second.
Boa tarde, Karla. I would like to ask on your professional career and while developing the apps, you mentioned many different types of applications, many different types of processes, so clearly it reflects a continuous learning. And I would like to ask if you could talk about your approach to it throughout your life and throughout the examples that you mentioned. Obrigado.
Obrigada a você pela pergunta. So, I do think learning should be constant in our lives. And at some point, I just fell in love with learning so much that everything I see is shiny and I want to learn. I feel that's not really the right approach, right? Like as a designer, using Bravo was just really the next step for my own journey because I already knew Figma. I already knew kind of Airtable and a spreadsheet. So I didn't really have much to learn on those. It was just really adding a little bit more to my stack to be able to build something more. So I recommend that approach. If you want to build something, choose your project wisely. See what would you define as a red app. Is this version enough? Then choose the tools that you make that because you have to choose depending on what your goal is. Like maybe it's a web app, maybe it's a native app, maybe this tool actually cannot build what you want and then this other one can. So you have to really kind of juggle around and you cannot learn all the tools at the same time. So you can go for an expert, ask if this can be built, then afterwards start watching videos or learn something very simple that I already saw others building in that community and from that grow. You add new features, then you learn new things. You saw on my journey, one of the things that were very interesting was that I was in each app actually playing with different components. So I have an app that is about video, I have another that is with audio, so I was playing with this concept of nothing is boring. There is one that's kind of a blog. I actually think everyone that's a creator today should have an app and not use Instagram or other social media because you could acquire all those users that are already following you there to your app. It could be a free app, it doesn't need to be a paid one.
Thank you. We have some spare time to have a final question. So, do I see anyone wishing to have